it's going to take time to rebuild. For every one late payment, in order to get back to where you were, it takes 3 on-time payments to get back to where you were. So that takes time. That alone is 4 months, because you had the first missed late payment, then of course you have the on time, and now you're back in good graces again. Okay, and so now your score has rebounded since that time. So just make sure you stay on top of that, but don't be applying for a lot of stuff. 15% of what actually makes your credit score comes from. In this video, we're going to talk about the 5 mistakes to avoid when you're rebuilding your credit score. Let's get right into it. Also, if you're looking to increase your credit score, qualify for homeownership, or lower your monthly car payment, we can help you. Go ahead and scan that QR code or click the link in the description below to learn more, and so you can see how we help these people just like we can help you. Mistake number 1 is skipping credit report checks. Okay, now don't be a stranger to actually checking the report when you're rebuilding your credit. I know you're probably thinking, well, there are some people I haven't paid, I can't afford to pay them, I'm not trying to see that information. You still need to be on top of it, because some companies may actually forgive the debt, or most companies are going to end up just moving past it. And you have a very small amount of companies that's actually going to turn it into a collection. But you want to keep an eye on these things, because you would hate for it to continuously drop your credit score, because we see that a lot of times as well, when people are essentially trying to rebuild their credit, but they're completely ignoring everything else that actually got their credit scores to the 300s, 400s, and 500s in the first place. So you got to be on top of it. You're entitled to free credit reports from each credit bureau annually. Now, that's by law. But since the pandemic, they've really been giving out free credit reports on various different websites. But obviously, you can go to annualcreditreport.com, or you can just use Credit Karma, or of course, it's so many platforms that are out there. But Credit Karma is going to easily give you 2 of the 3 credit bureaus. But you can easily get this free Experian credit report just by going to freecreditscore.com. I know it sounds scammy, but it's actually owned and operated by Experian, as they bought them out years ago. Okay, now your credit reports hold the key to understanding exactly where you are in your credit journey and your health. Okay, you're legally entitled to the free credit report, as I just explained, from all 3 bureaus. And you can go through annualcreditreport.com. But the issue is when you go through them, and the reason why I don't really recommend it is because it doesn't come with a score. It only comes with reports. Okay, but regularly checking your reports is going to allow you to identify any errors that may be dragging down your score, things you know about, things you may not know about. And the faster that you address those mistakes, the quicker you can see improvement, because you could easily handle some of these things by getting on a payment plan, or just by simply saying, hey, it may be inaccurate, so it may not be yours. Okay, but you most definitely want to stay on top of it. Okay, if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. All right, so now mistake number 2 is going to be missing out on payment opportunities. Okay, now payment history is the most significant factor which impacts your credit score 35%. Okay, so you want to make timely payments on existing debts, even if they are minimal. This is where auto pay is going to be key. And if you can't afford it to put it on auto pay, you may need to let it go, or see if they have some type of hardship program. Okay, but making timely payments on existing debts, even if it's the minimal monthly payment, is just keeping it in good standing. And then some people like to go with secured credit cards. It's a lot of options that are out there, but a secured credit card is most definitely one of them, or a credit builder loan to reestablish a positive payment track record. Okay, real quick, if you haven't done so already, be sure to download our free ebook. You can actually scan this QR code, or you can click the link in the description below. Now back to the video. So now, how do you go about actually getting those accounts when your score is not the best? There's a lot of companies out there, and I'm going to show you guys a couple of those in a second. But either way, timely payments are going to be the golden rule of credit rebuilding. Okay, 35% of your score comes from that. So even a small manageable debt, making those payments every single month, whether it's $5 a month, $10 a month, $25 a month, and that shows positive payment history. It doesn't matter how much something is or how much you've borrowed. It's all about have you made the payments on time. Okay, even if you have a limited credit history or no credit history at all, getting a secured credit card or a credit builder loan is going to be huge. Okay, and we just did a video on some credit builders that are available out there with no credit check. Also, we just did a video on some secured credit cards as well too, so make sure you guys go ahead and check those out. Any one of those will most definitely work for you as well. Okay, but these products are going to require a security deposit. And all that means is you're paying monthly, into the actual account itself. And at the end of the term, you're going to get that money back. So essentially, you're building credit just by saving your own money, but it most definitely can help you establish a positive payment record if you use it responsibly and obviously making the payments on time. Most of those accounts are going to be auto pay anyway. So the only way you would mess this up is if you don't have money in your account. Okay. Mistake number three is going to be maxing out your available credit. Now, this is how you got to that point. You can't be late on stuff, and then obviously not pay certain people. Then your credit score drops. Then you get a secure credit card, for an example, and or a credit builder loan, and then you're late with them, or you get the secure credit card and you're maxing that out. So one of the biggest things that mistakes that people make with secure credit cards is that they end up paying three, four, $500 for one. You don't want to have to do that. You can easily go with Open Sky. I'll show you that in a second. And but they have different options for you. So you don't want to overpay. And then outside of overpaying, you don't want to get the secure credit card and max it out. So if your limit is 500, you don't want to spend 500. If your limit is 1,000, you don't want to spend $1,000. Okay, you still want to stay under about 7 to 10%, ideally 3 to 7%. And you can easily just put a bill on that particular credit card and then just put it on auto pay. It could be something small like Apple Music, Hulu, Spotify, Netflix, not advertising anybody, but any of those. We all got subscription services. So whichever one is the smallest one, that's what's going to make the most sense. But aim to keep your credit utilization low and paying down existing debts as well as you're rebuilding along the way. Okay. But the credit utilization ratio is real simple. You just take the balance divided by the limits, okay? Or you can multiply the percentage towards the actual limit itself. This is why I say 10%, because 10% is an easy number. If the limit is 500, then we want to stay $50 or less. If the limit is 1,000, then we want to stay $100 or less. That doesn't mean that you can't go over that amount, but if you do, your credit score is most definitely going to be going the other direction unless you start to increase that limit over time, which is going to be great. But again, this is for rebuilding. We got to focus on creating these great habits for right now. But during the credit rebuilding stage, focus mainly on paying down existing balances and avoid using credit cards excessively. That's where that auto pay is going to come in. Leave that card at home if you don't need to use it. Okay. This will lower your utilization and improve your credit score over time. All right. Let me know your thoughts. We're not done with the video yet, but let me know your thoughts inside the comment section below as you guys are going through the credit rebuilding stage and things of that sort. We're always looking to help out who we can and, just try to answer some questions if we can and things of that sort. So let us know your thoughts inside the comments. Okay. Mistake number 4. And this is going to be ignoring debt collectors. This kind of goes back into the credit report stage. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, Calvin, you mentioned that, earlier is like, nah, the credit report is one thing because they may not be calling you. There are people that you owe, whether it's on your credit report or not, and then they're not calling you. But see, debt collectors, that's a different ball game. That's essentially when a company has now sold that debt to a collection company, but you don't want to ignore them. You most definitely want to stay on top of it. People have these various videos that are on YouTube saying, don't answer the phone. Don't say it's your debt. Listen, you can do all that stuff, but the debt's not going anywhere. So, you may be in a position. Now, don't get me wrong. You can easily build around it, but you may be in a position where you have to pay that, or you have to make some type of payment arrangement. You may be trying to go into homeownership and it's slowing you down. So again, don't ignore it. But ignoring debt collectors won't make the problem disappear. Communicate with them to understand your debt situation. Okay. Negotiate repayment plans or explore debt consolidation options or even settlement options as well. But in short, debt collectors, they may seem like it's a lot to deal with. Like they may seem like it's a hassle, but ignoring them can worsen the situation because we've seen clients ignore the debt collectors and then they end up being taken to court. Okay. So you don't want to end up doing that. And sometimes if they further do it, it can end up qualifying for wage garnishment as well. But it's crucial to communicate with them to understand the extent of your debt and to explore whatever solutions they have. Because you'd be surprised. We've seen some clients where they've been able to pay like 30% of the total debt amount, 70% of the total debt amount. So again, a lot of times, you always want to ask and see what you can get away with, or say, hey, I have, for example, if you have $1,000, you owe them $1,000. You don't have to give them 1,000. Just say, hey, let me see, I have $800. I have $600, right? And so those things will try to help you along the way. You at least want to ask and just see if it's possible, okay? But negotiate repayment plans that fit your budget or consider debt consolidation to simplify your debt management overall. Now, this is mistake number 5. Get ready for this one. This is taking on too much new credit too soon, okay? This is where you may see that one YouTube video and someone says, get this account, because you are feeling like, well, my score's not moving fast enough. And in reality, you're trying to spray air freshener on a garbage can that stinks. Okay. And what that garbage can is your old credit, your old credit report, or essentially could be your current credit report, but your old score in a sense. And it's going to take time. It didn't happen overnight that you went from a 700 or a 600 down to the fives, fours, or the threes. That didn't happen within a couple days. Okay. In most cases. And so it's going to take time to rebuild. For every one late payment, in order to get back to where you were, it takes 3 on time payments to get back to where you were. So that takes time. That alone is 4 months because you had the first missed late payment. Then, of course, you have the on time, on time, on time. And now you're back in good graces again. Okay. And so now your score has rebounded since that time. So just make sure you stay on top of that. But don't be applying for a lot of stuff. 15% of what actually makes your credit score comes from mix of accounts. Okay. So 10 to 15%. So you got to make sure that you have a good mix over time, but you don't have to get everything you hear about. Just because there's 20 credit builder accounts, just because you heard something on the radio, just because you saw a YouTube video, your friend, your family member, listen, you have to make sure that you get what's needed specifically for you. This is why we offer a game plan package, because we can look at your credit report and tell you exactly what you need to do based on your credit situation. Okay. Now, if you want that, you can just rewind the video and then just go ahead and scan the QR code. But I'm just letting you know that there are people that are out here that will look at the report and tell you what you need to do, instead of you just adding everything and then just hoping it's going to magically turn your report overnight. Some stuff is not adding accounts. Some stuff is actually, believe it or not, closing accounts or using accounts differently, right? Some of you all have a great amount of credit cards, but they're all with the wrong banks. So there's a lot of things that kind of play a role in this credit journey. Okay, but you want to space out your credit card applications, because as you're in the rebuilding stage, now you're building some new relationships potentially. Now you got people that because I know some people, we've had some clients get to the higher 600s, 700s, and they're getting offers that they've never seen before. They've never got anything from Chase Bank. They never got anything from American Express. And so, but you don't want to just say yes to everybody. Don't say, listen, these are like relationships. Well, you know what? Some of y'all say yes to everybody anyway. But anyway, prioritize rebuilding your credit with existing credit lines before seeking new ones. Okay. While applying for new credit cards or loans, it may seem helpful, but applying for too much too soon can easily backfire for multiple reasons. And I just mentioned the first one, which obviously you don't want to have your average age of accounts that's going to be affected because you have too many accounts all at once. Or worse, where financially you're not able to make those payment obligations that you're supposed to make as well. Okay. But each application is going to trigger a hard inquiry as well, too. That's another reason why you should slow down on certain things, even with credit builders. Even though most credit builders don't run your credit, you don't have to have a tremendous amount of them. I've seen someone with like 10 credit builders. Like, don't do that, guys. That's doing too much. Okay. But be strategic with these applications as you're doing it. Don't just be guessing. Don't just throw Jello on the wall to see if something's going to stick. Okay. But focus mainly on rebuilding the score with existing lines of credit before seeking additional ones. Create the good habits. See if what you can afford to pay on time. You don't need, I repeat, you don't need 10, 20, 30 accounts to get above 680, 650, 700s and beyond. Even to get to 850, you only need 5 to 7 accounts, 5 to 8 accounts preferably, okay? But they need to have an average age of 8 to 11 years. Credit is how many accounts do you have, but how great have you done with them over time, okay? So about 5, 7, 8 accounts, that's normal, that's natural. You're going to get cars along the way. You're going to get mortgages along the way, personal loans or whatever that is. You're going to get a natural mix over time, okay? But you don't have to force this to work, okay? But let me know your thoughts inside the comments below, about this as you guys are going through your credit rebuilding journey. And of course, if you haven't done so already, make sure you guys be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you all on the next video. Have a good one.